right, guys, the madman went ahead and did it. This is the 6th vintage video in a row, and today I'm going to be playing Oath of Druids. What's not to like here? Oath of Druids, an ancient combo and basically a staple of the vintage. Combine it with Forbidden Orchard to give your opponent a creature, and then they keep printing better creatures. I mean, in my day, we used to oath a Chroma Angel of Wrath, Spirit of the Night, Rorik's Bladewing, stuff like that. But these days, yeah, Atraxa Grand Unifier. This card is incredible. This card is also good with Show and Tell, which ups our threat density from simply just having Oath in the tutors. Speaking of upping threat density, we play a couple of Okos for good measure. This will frequently be a win in more scrambly games. This will turn off Grafdigger's Cage. This will, pitch to Force of Will for Force Negation. I also play for Stock Ups. Stock Up is an incredible card in these full acceleration decks looking for an unfair finish. Speaking of full acceleration, I saw a recent list that actually added Ancient Tomb as well, which basically makes for more, I guess, accelerated Stock Ups and Show and Tells. And I thought that was worth giving a go as a one-of. Not the most intuitive one-of, but I actually like it quite a bit. The mana base is very straightforward, so the deck is a light black splash, and we only need Oath essentially to cast Oath or Oko, so we can just relatively untroubled register a mana base like this, still play Basic Island, because why not? We also sneak a little bit of a Besage into our mana base for more utility. Counter Suite, 7 forces, 2 flusters, Mental Misstep. Bobble here for when you're on the play. Restricted stuff. Worth noting is that Merchant Scroll grabs Flash, which acts as a big draw spell with Atraxa. Sideboard-wise, we have to address the top of the format, being Dredge, Mono-White Initiative, a little bit of Workshop, and I guess tiny adjustments against Lurus. Reasons to play this deck is decks like Prison Shops, Fair Lurus, stuff like that, and things to look out for. I would especially mention the One Ring. The One Ring is incredible against Oath of Druids. It time walks the ability entirely, so that's something that I'm a little bit concerned about. I haven't been the biggest fan of this deck for, the last 6 months or whatever, but I actually think this deck is awesome, and once I saw 4 stock ups, I decided to work on it a little bit. And yeah, this is my final 75 that I'm gonna go run through some matches here, so yeah, hang on for those. All right, round 1 playing Oath, and I think we're already tested here. I'm 2 mana sources away from casting Show and Tell Atraxa. I have backup. I'm going to try and keep this. Also, if I find the first mana source, maybe Time Walk can bridge into the other one right away. Let's see. I have no idea what I'm up against. No Lurus. I guess let's Gitaxian Probe to see how much we're in trouble. Okay, so I'm playing against a big blue deck of sorts, and my opponent's going to see for them, good news. Oath from the top of the deck, not exactly ideal, let me put it that way. Here's Mox Pearl. Here's Probe. The opponent sees my hand. I can't exactly say that I'm loving this situation. Pearl is gone as well. Ruby. So now my opponent can force the issue, so to speak. Let's see if I bite. If this is a this is a stock up, that's the problem. And then next turn I'm getting tinkered. Yeah, I have to counter this card. I don't think I have a choice. Maybe with the Oath drawn. Do I now pitch the Atraxa? So let's quickly see here. They fetched. So have perfect info about the hand now, which is a little bit weird that the opponent would fetch here. Okay, so if I'm pitching Time Walk, I get further away. But I'm getting Tinkered next turn, so I need to draw blue source. And the question is, yeah, I should pitch the Time Walk here, I think. Pitch Time Walk. I now have to draw blue source or I'm getting tinkered. I draw blue source, so I'm not getting tinkered. I mean, that's what needed to happen, right? So the reason to pitch Time Walk is... let's see. The reason to pitch Time Walk is so that I can fluster here into a land, but I could also, if this game comes to a kind of stall, right? So let's see. I guess let's find Forbidden Orchard. There is Atraxa. So we put Atraxa into the graveyard, and we draw a card. That's a land. So let's see. Opponent has Tinker, Twister, one unknown. I'm going to cast this Show and Tell. And then I'm going to bank on my Atraxa to find backup. Show and Tell. Sure. So now... Ooh, no Surveil in my opponent's deck. That's kind of interesting. Because if they had a Surveil, they would have gone for that one, right? Yeah. So Atraxa trigger, I have to find a force. I do find a force. Did I find a Sapphire? I didn't find a Sapphire. So I'll go Force Negation. I'll go, I guess, Show and Tell. Wait a minute. Maybe not Show and Tell. I guess Stock Up. I have to go for a land as well. Let's go Pearl. And is Forbidden Orchard better? Probably. Because I can get to another Atraxa trigger this way. Unclear. Let's get those 4. So now let's play Petal. Let's pass. And now I have to understand, if my opponent leads on Time Twister, what do I do? Ooh, I'm not sure the opponent was supposed to play that Mox out. Were they? I think I have to let this Time Twister resolve now, because the Tinker into Citadel is probably gonna crush me. Okay, let's get a new hand here. Pretty cool game, I must say. Okay, maybe now the game is not cool anymore. This hand is atrocious. But yeah, that was a pretty cool game, right? I had a very marginal hand. I got there, and then I didn't get there, you know, after all. So let's see if my opponent can actually finish the job. Yeah, this was obviously a terrible twister. All right, so the opponent goes for infinite turns here. Okay, that was cool. I'm playing against a big blue deck. Big blue deck where I guess Fluster will be awesome. Empiric will be less awesome. And then aside from that, I don't really know much about my opponent's deck. So you could argue that having something like a single decay would be solid. But I actually think this is going to be fought on the stack, like, for the most part. So I'm actually just going to try and submit this. I have a Passager in my deck in case I need it. Yeah, that was pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet. Ended out a little better for my opponent this time around, though. All right. Cool hand here of turn 1 Bauble. Huh. Turn 1 Bauble. I should probably go for that, right? Like, there's no way I don't go for that. Yeah, on a perfect day, that card gets forced. And then I have some kind of game plan here revolving around Demonic Tutor with Fluster backup at some point. Land pass, because that's what Vexing Bubble does to a man. Show and Tell is not bad. Prefer going for this one, I think. Here's Oko. Okay. Oko's like a, you know, one card combo, so to speak. No fetch here, so I guess no Surveil confirmed in my opponent's deck. That's super weird. Because last time, if they lore and reveal for this card, put this into play, they dig deeper for mana source number 6. It's a little bit weird. So I guess I hope my opponent's a fluster deck. But not a pierce deck. So let's play this. Green, blue, something. Oko. Create a food, and then next turn start working with the 3/3s. Mixing bauble. Hopefully super annoying for my opponent at this stage. Here's island. So let's see. Maybe my opponent's like a Narset deck or something. That would be pretty cool. Stock up. Kind of expected, you know? So let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure the opponent's supposed to concede here. I mean, stock up, get some good cards. I know, I mean, Oko's a bad situation for them, but I'm not entirely sure that was the move. All right, so on the draw, I think I cut that card. So now essentially I have to pick between Vampiric Tutor, which I really don't like out of like in blue matchups, or a Speculative Abrupt Decay. I don't like speculative cards either. Huh. So my opponent's a Tinker Vault Key deck, so I guess it can't be that bad to have a single decay. But when I look across the deck, I don't have a worse card than, you know, second decay. So I say all of that to say that I like this setup. Blue-black, big mana. Blue-black, historically, kind of bad against the card Oath of Druids. So we can kind of hope to leverage that a little bit. Okay. So that card surely speeds up things. So sometimes you can have some Hail Mary situations and counter the Ruby to not get pressured by Saga tokens. I'm not sure that was my move here. Merchant Scroll. So essentially what's going to happen now is if my opponent has a Grafdigger's Cage in their deck, I'm getting raced. That's a big problem, actually. That is a big problem. Let's see. Mox is an amazing draw. So let's see. What happens if I go Mox, land, Oath? My opponent forces. 1 spell, 2 thrill speed, 3 spells, 4 spells. That would be enough. Okay, so I guess let's go Mox. So now the biggest problem is that I'm not beating the cage. Very fast Saga here. I have a single backup for this. Bluster, force your opponent to pay 4. Pitch. So I guess since they force it, they don't have a cage. Almost can be. All right, opponent, you're up. Here comes Force of Will. Okay. So I'm getting out aggroed here instead. That works, of course. Fast Saga, double force. That's how you beat Oath of Druids, essentially. That's what you want to see. Ooh, so I guess this is decent for me. Soul Ring. The opponent now has 5 mana to work with. I'm hopefully gonna counter this card. So let's see. I guess let's keep the Merchant Scroll around. The opponent's down to 1 card. They could have added more pressure here, but they decided to dig for counters. Can't blame them. This is kind of the thing about Force Negation. It was very bad on my turn, and then obviously great on my opponent's turn. Merchant Scroll for Ancestral Recall, I think is the only thing I can do here. Let's cast Ancestral Recall into those cards. Not ideal. So I need 1 like Lotus or a Mox here, and I can hardcast Atraxa. So that's my out now. All right. I don't like my odds here, I must say. I think I'm pretty dead. Stock up. I think I'm supposed to counter it. If I was a one-off Atraxa, I would let it go, but still wouldn't love that, obviously. 5. Even a card like Oko could stabilize. But I'm running out of time here. Show and tell. That's also a little bit funny. I guess let's play a land, pass the turn, take 5, and now Oath is too late. So I need to draw exactly Atraxa, or I guess some... Yeah, oh, third stock up, maybe fourth? Third stock up? Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay. Okay. I fought hard. These were cool games. Lots of small details. And lots of, you know, showcasing the, like, how the orchards can backfire, stuff like that. I guess Double Force Saga was just too strong this time around. And triple stock up to follow it up with. All right. That's going to do it for round 1. Let's see if we can come back stronger. All right, guys, thanks for letting me interrupt the video briefly here. I have a couple of tournaments I want to talk a little bit about. Equiternal Weekend Vintage is on the horizon, September 27th. On a Saturday, we will play out. These are the details. It's going to be a $30 entry with a $10 discount for members. Prizes are going to feature painting by Kai Sawatarix, Kai and you working together, executing exactly what you want to have happen on this painting. Incredible opportunity. The Legacy version is already in the books, and the winner is planning with Kai as we speak. Then tons of treasure chests, and then the top finishers, I will award 1 ticket each for the main event at Eternal Weekend EU and NA, so basically 1 for each. We will coordinate so, you know, the right guys get the proper free entry, right? And all of that is thanks to Card Titan, 4 Seasons, and Boost MTG. So thank you very, very much for supporting the Eternal community. Use the link below to purchase your ticket, or, you know, message me and we'll figure it out. Second thing is my next Eco Cup is coming. So this is going to be a 32-player double elimination bracket played in one go on the day. This is going to be Saturday before Eternal Weekend. You have the entry... I'm sorry, you have the details here. It's going to be free for all members, and it's going to be a $10 guest ticket. Here are the prizes. And yeah, again, we have 2 top finishers, and they will each get a main event ticket for Eternal Weekend US or Eternal Weekend EU in the Legacy main event. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, and I hope to see you there. All right, next round is upon us. I have turn 1 Oko here. I think that's decent. What's my alternative? It's something like turn 2 Oko plus Oath. But I don't think that holds too much value. There's also the fact that I'm... You know, I guess this Ruby is very bad. If this was a Pearl or, you know, any other Mox, I think it was 1 mana from... I guess it should be Esper Mox. Then it was 1 land away from hardcasting. Okay. I think this hand is solid, but I'm also a little bit worried because my opponent is not a Lurus deck. So chances are, like, if they're not a creature deck of sorts, this Oko could be very slow. So I guess let's go Black Lotus, Beseiju, Oath. This gets countered every so often because people will be scared that I'm mono-white initiative. And if I'm mono-white initiative, then the threat of Cavern of Souls into something, you know, unbeatable is looming. So I guess if that happens, I'm just gonna surveil here. So let's cast the Oko. Let's make a food. Let's play the Mox and pass. So now, essentially, Oko is ready to turn any opposing Mox into a creature, which would let me get off Oath. So a sequence next turn could be something like cast Oath first off Beseiju and Ruby, see if that works, then turn, you know, opponent's stuff or my stuff into a creature, depending on what happens. This is all given that I get another turn, of course. This is vintage. This is not okay, cool. So yeah, this could get, let's see what the opponent's doing here. This could get a little bit freaky. Anointed Peacekeeper. You got it. So now my opponent has to name both the Druids, essentially. But I will turn this Peacekeeper into blank 3/3, and then I can slam the Oath. Then my opponent needs the... Does this say opponent? It does say opponent. So if I can take this creature and give them a food, actually, with Oko. I think that's slightly better. They could, of course, also just name Oko. Let's see what they do here. This is not easy. Also, I'm trying to gauge if I can read anything into the rest of their hand, but depending on what they name here. Naming Oko. So is this because they... So what I could do here is take the 3/3, give them a food. Is that crazy? My opponent has 6 mana, no Chancellor. What happens if I take the 3/3? Then I'm also better against the initiative. That could be overthinking it. I'm mainly thinking about that white card, but I think I should play the Surveillant. Okay, another Oath, which is actually decent, because now I can slam Oath of Druids, and I'll just check if this works. I'm not sure it does, though. Yeah. Okay, got it. So now I have an additional Oath in case this gets disenchanted. Okay, they start attacking Oko. So now the disenchant creature is not there. Okay, so the opponent's in a little bit of trouble here. I'll fetch for Atraxa, trigger Atraxa. From here, it should be somewhat simple. Yeah, opponent's seen enough. So what would I do here? I would upkeep... Oh, I can't. Sorry, I don't know black mana. I couldn't upkeep Vamp Tutor. But yeah, it's essentially over here, so... Okay. So mono white initiative. Let me bring in these cards and these cards. Let me bring out Fluster, Bubble on the draw. Will they bring Plows? I'll leave negations on the draw to counter acceleration, that type of deal. So I want those 4. I don't want those 4. What's the last card I don't want? Could be... I don't think it's terrible to get rid of Mental Misstep. But I do think... Mental Misstep. Maybe it's Flash. Maybe Flash Atraxa is just too slow. But in that case, it'd just be Merchant Scroll, I guess. Alright, let's try this. Up a game versus White Initiative, and yeah, Atraxa did its thing. Okay, so this hand is not good. This hand could become good, but it isn't good. It can stop the opponent a little bit. It can surveil. It can cycle. I guess let's keep this hand. My opponent's on a keep 7 here, so yeah, I need to get my value here with Force of Will, I feel like. Let's see if that's possible. Here's Anointed Peacekeeper. So this is probably a card that I can afford to not care about, which is kind of funny. Although, if the opponent has more plays now, They can just name the force, so we'll take it out of the equation. But I actually think that card is beatable. Let's see if I'm right. I could easily not be right here. Let's see. But in order for this card to be awesome, right now, they would need like some double acceleration plus another card. And if I force this, they can just also do that, right? So I think it's better to assume they don't have that, so that when they don't, I'm better off. And when they do, I'm in big trouble anyway. That's kind of a decent way to evaluate here. Naming polluted delta. Okay, so is my opponent just going to force the issue here? No pun intended. Polluted delta is shut off, or at least it costs 2. Okay, so they did have the double acceleration. Is this Cavern 3-drop? Okay, it's not Cavern 3-drop, it's Peacekeeper 3-drop. Yeah, so... Wait a minute. They could have gone named Force of Will here and had 2 3/3s. Okay, I'll force that card. I'll battle the 3/3. Polluted deltas. Oh my god. That is a draw and a half. So fetched with Tarn. Yeah, that's insane. That was an insane draw. Oath of Druids. Oh boy. Yeah. I feel you, opponent. Yeah, that should not be allowed. All right, Oath of Druids doing Oath of Druids things, and we're off to round 3. All right, one more round of Oath before we wrap things up. Is this turn 1 Flash Atraxa? Opponent has Lurus revealed. I don't think that matters all that much, except I guess I shouldn't expose a tropical here. So maybe we should start with Mana Crypt. In theory, I could be Mono White Initiative. Just good sequence, right? I mean, this gets negated every now and again, and we look like champs. So here's Merchant Scroll. Here's Flash. This is a must counter that dodges Misstep. Here's a must counter that doesn't dodge Misstep. So let's see. Artifact. Instant. Sorcery. Enchantment. And a land, I think. Maybe it's just a fetch. Maybe fetch is better. So now we have a nice little draw 5 here. Ancestral being better than Fluster. Pretty sure about that. I guess. Well, let's play out the Pearl. No counter magic here, unless I just completely blanked here. Right now, I couldn't tell you which cards they were. Okay, so I could have taken Mental Misstep. Okay. So, yeah, pretty solid turn 1. Kind of like a refill. Flash Atraxa, it's essentially 2 cards, right? And I got 5 out of the deal, so pretty awesome. So let's see. If the opponent's unfair Lurus, very bad things can happen. If they're fair Lurus, less bad things can happen. I have a Mana Crypt in play. Let's see. Ancestral Recall, you got it. Mana Floating, so we will learn about our opponent's plans now. Here's Underground Sea. Here's Psychic Frog. And my opponent knows about Oath. So it's a little bit peculiar, I must say, playing out the frog. Because my opponent didn't fight over the Atraxa draw. So how many forces did you find in the meantime, buddy? How many forces did you find in the meantime, buddy? Should I upkeep this Ancestral? So why is it good to upkeep the Ancestral if it resolves? Vampiric Tutor is a better card. But I think it's better to give myself the chance to draw into a Force or Fluster. But it's a good one to think about, at least. Draw Draw stock up. That is insane. Crazy card. So, funnily enough, with the way things played out, the opponent could have mental misstep. Like with the way, you know, I scrolled for flash. Is this just where I cast stock up, which is a must counter? So I guess play land, play stock up. Stock up resolves. I will go with force a will. And I guess another stock up. This is really, really strong. So let's put those back. Let's now fetch Trop, slam Oath of Druids. Oath of Druids. I will pitch my show and tell. So the opponent must have another one. Otherwise, you don't play out this frog. Yep, there's another one. I guess this is where I fire my Ancestral. Because if I draw into backup here... And there's the misstep. Okay, so that read was decent. In my spot, I couldn't do anything about it, though. So opponent has a chance here because they only fought over what actually kills them, which is the oaths, right? So yeah, pretty interesting. If my opponent wins this game, it's a masterclass. Then that's the YouTube video you should be watching next. That's really cool. Let's see if we can spoil that fun. That'll be cool. Frog getting in there. Wasteland. Hitting the Trop, I guess. That's how you should play. And now holding up Bowmasters. Let's see if I can dodge damage. I dodge damage like a champ. And I draw that card. That is exactly how I drew it up. So let's have a think here. If my opponent has Spell Pierce, maybe it's good to cast Stock Up first because this card actually saves me. Interesting. But what if I get flustered on the Stock Up? Then I just jam Oath. Okay, perfect. So let's cast Stock Up. Another Oath. So I guess let's take Oath and Mental Misstep. I wonder if Fatal Push is part of my opponent's plan here. I know this Oath is going to resolve. So I should take those two. Now I'm going to play Oath, hold up C. Excuse me. Oath of Druids. This seems to never run out of those. So now I will counter my opponent's Fatal Push onto the frog if they go for it, which is kind of funny. That's probably the most likely thing that's going to happen here is my opponent gets in for damage and then finishes it off with Fatal Push trying to get to a stall. Here's Ursa's Saga, sure. And now the opponent's battling Atraxa, unless they fire that Fatal Push. Okay. Well, let's put Oath of Druids in a stack. Here's Atraxa. And here's a ton of cards. So Oko, Force, Probe, land that accidentally kills Saga. Yeah. Atraxa got there. Playing against Fair Lurus, so I love the decays. I love the fluster. On the draw, I don't like Vamp at all. I don't like Bauble. What else don't I like here? I think these are quite clean additions. Let us see here. It could be the Ancient Tomb. Do I have... Oh, I missed the negations. Totally missed the negations. I don't want those cards. I'll add, I guess, a couple of Dismembers. And then on the play, I'll have Bobble. I think that's how I do it. Dismember is good against... I guess it's not that great against Psychic Frog, but it's maybe solid. Yeah, this should be fine. All right. Up a game versus Sultai Lurus. I'm playing Sultai Oath. And I have Oath with Force backup at some point here. I also have a Flash that I could consider casting into something like a Pierce or a Fluster, if I feel like that's coming. Turn one Psychic Frog. So what I could do here is counter it with Flash. I think that's good. I feel like that's like the root to all evil. If the opponent starts to get this going with, you know, Strip Mines and counters and stuff. Okay, my opponent counters back. Shows Lavinia. That's very important info. So well played by my opponent. I will play this land because it's my worst land, and I think I have a chance in a game where I get Wastelanded once. So I think it's a decent hedge. Also, let's see, how do I play in case I just get the turn here? I think I decay the frog. Let's see what this is. This is Tundra. Time Walk. That's incredible with the frog. Okay. Opponent's doing a good job here. Forcing through the frog. And then, yeah, getting in for extra card advantage. 4 cards. Ancestral Recall even. Okay, yeah, now I'm certainly losing this game. I thought I had a good plan. And here's Wasteland, so it looks like Mox territory. Ooh, that's sick. That is really sick. Play land. That should have been Orchard, I feel like. When I plays a land here, I'm very happy for that. They could have drawn Wasteland and finished the game right. It's always good to get your draws in before you make your land drop. So now I'll fetch your Tropical Island, slam the Oath, and unless my opponent has infinite bricks in hand, we're going to game 3. This looks like the opponent's trying to protect a priest. Wait a minute, this could backfire. If there's only one priest, this can backfire thanks to Abrupt Decay. Okay. The opponent decided to fight over the priest instead. Pumping a little bit here. Okay. So I obviously lose the second priest. But yeah, I think this was not ideal for my opponent. Okay. Now nothing matters, right? Now they can just... I guess I can win if they go for counter magic. These answers for priest being uncounterable is really tricky. It's a good thing to think about. Let's see if my opponent has thought about it. My out is that the opponent has not thought about it. So sometimes that's your out, right? You're not playing against a magic computer, so let's see if we can beat the Ancestral Time Walk double frog draw here. Time Walk gone. That's good. Otherwise, I would be dead. So let's see. What is this? Treasure Cruise. Okay, so the opponent maybe is trying to just bury me with counters. So let's see if there's a second one here. All right, there's a second. So the opponent had that covered. On the play here, I do like my Vexing Bauble. And I know now that I need my Dismembers against this deck. Let's see. We have a lot of solid cards here. Maybe Brainstorm is a liability against Bowmaster deck. We can try that. All right. Game 3, last match as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed your time. I certainly have. Vintage is a cool change of pace. Turn 1, Oath. So turn 1 Oath with practically nothing. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe this is where So the other plan here is that I time walk. I give myself the chance to spike one of 3 one of 3 flusters. The reason to do that is that if I get to Oath Atraxa, I'm sure I'll be fine. In the sense that time walking there is less of a difference, but here it could be the difference between losing to a force or beating a force, right? I'm trying to get to So now I could cast this on this must counter or that must counter. Maybe this is where I should give my opponent credit for having one of their 7 forces. Let's cast Stock Up here. Not an easy move, to be honest. But I think it's slightly better. Force and Negation. So I guess we take that as a win in the book. Mainly since, yeah, I would just rather be left with Oath, right? That's just how it works. So I'm getting Wastelanded there. I'm getting wasted off green, so I guess I take that as a sign of weakness. So let's play Oath of Druids. If they didn't care about Oath, they would just get rid of my C, right? And get free tokens. Oh, they do care about my Oath. Okay, that's interesting. That is a little bit interesting. So in theory, the opponent could have gotten more tokens out of the deal. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a choice. I don't mind it. Ooh, so now if I play this, I think I should. It beats Spell Pierce, does not beat Fluster, which is super annoying. Ooh, I see. These cards are atrocious. So I go Esadio Random Island. Yep. These cards are the worst. And now Hedge Maze into that. Okay. It's not often you break on the stock up. And now things are looking a little bit grim here, to say the least. Because my opponent has reached Containment Priest mana. Here's Dismember. I'll play out the island. Do I have onboard Atraxa mana? Green, white, black, blue. Yeah, I do have. So I guess Atraxa would be a good draw, which is also a little bit not normal. Ursa's Saga. I think I should have killed it in response, but I'll kill it end of turn. Maybe it's the same. No, I should have killed it in response. I think that was a foregone conclusion. So let me kill that card. The opponent gets a land. That's fine. So now they have 1 more mana than they would have had. Did I just enable Dig Through Time? I think I just enabled Dig Through Time. Okay, the opponent didn't have dig through time. I did enable the imaginary dig through time, though. So let's see. Fluster. All right, all right. This is not looking good. Fizzling out here. I think it's totally reasonable. I played 2 uncounterable. Maybe it's slightly below average, but 2 not uncounterable. I played 2 must counters. I don't think that's insane. 3 actually. Even that stock up. I just bricked on 1. So maybe it's fairly average. Stalling out here. Taking a little bit of damage from the crypt. I draw a Traxa. Okay, that's cool. So let's see. Blue, green, black, white, and 3 colorless. Hardcast Atraxa. Force blue card. Needed. Force blue card. Not there. Here's the plow. I wondered if the opponent would have. Okay, so I can go next turn. Demonic Tutor, Show and Tell. No, I can't. That's not how it works. I cannot take 2 of the same type. So let's see. Merchant Scroll Ancestral. Decent. Demonic Tutor is just better, right? So Demonic Tutor. Oko. Mox Emerald. Not for me. I'm not in any other tournaments. Let's see, which instant am I picking here? Should just be Force of Will, I reckon. So basically, if I do like this, I should be in decent shape. Did I pick a sorcery? Yes. Artifact, Planeswalker. No land here in top 10, so a little bit of a weird run out. Let's play Emerald. Is this a Spell Pierce? That would be pretty fun. Also, my opponent did not put Lurus to hand, held up 3 mana. What is that about? Probably Containment Priest. So let's see, what do I do about the Priest? The opponent's slamming Priest here, but I can Oko that card and... I can Oko that card and dismember that card. So I think this is fine, but I have to worry about my life total. Mana Crypt is hurting me a lot here. Take 5, I'm down to 9. So I could have dismembered here. I'm not sure. I think I need these life points. I got those life points. So let's see here. Demonic Tutor. What happens if I just go Oko, turn my Mana Crypt into a 3/3? That type of thing? So let's see. Cast Demonic Tutor. Opponent on 2 cards. Think I like this spot. Question is how I finish this game. Spell Pierce. Sure. Pay for Spell Pierce. This resolves. So now I have 5 mana. So what happens if I just go take Oath? I think this is all right. So take Oath, play land, turn that one into a 3/3. What happens if I play? Yeah, this should be all right. This turn is actually pretty hard. So let's see. Oko. Turn Mana Crypt into a 3/3. Pass. I might go to 5 here. I don't think that's the end of the world. Still have Dismember left. I'm jamming Oath next turn. I have Force backup. Let's see what this is. 2 attacks on everybody on me. Not the priest, though. Okay. So, block, take 3, go to 6. Oko still in play. Opponent has to pass. Okay, so maybe we've turned the corner now. That's kind of the theory. Oko doing a little bit of heavy lifting. So let's see. What's the play here? Cast Oath of Druids. Maybe I turn the priest into a 3/3 now. Cast Oath. That's a good way to start the turn. If I turn that into a 3/3, I will get hit for 3 more, then get Atraxa. Turn that into the 3/3. Hold up mana for soft counters, I guess. Try and survive this turn. Also, right now, my opponent could have another. That's the reason why I'm playing it like this. The opponent could have another priest. Brainstorm. That means my opponent ends up with 3 new cards, or 3, you know. That card could be good. That card could be the best draw they ever had. And I let them have Braincestral Recall here, essentially. Okay. Getting in there with everybody. Attacking me. Blocking over here, I go to 3. Yeah, let's see what's going on now. Here's Containment Priest. A card that I will kill end of turn. But I have to think about Flusterstorm. I think my Fluster beats his Fluster, though. Let's see if that's the case. 1 card in hand. Containment Priest. What happens if I Force Pitch Stock Up? Can I lose the game if I Force Pitch Stock Up against 1 last card? I'm not convinced I can lose the game if I do that. Because Dismember and Fluster should have the rest covered. Let's see if I'm right about this. So, untap, trigger Oath, put Atraxa into play, look at top 10, find some stuff. I guess Force Blue card is a good place to start. Artifact, random land, done. Draw step. Yeah, and the opponent's seen enough. So now the plan is to just make clues. Make whatever these are. Food tokens, of course, and then, you know, get ahead on land, life points. Start closing the deal with Atraxa and back up here. This match was pretty awesome. I got pretty lucky to get to hardcast Atraxa before being dead, essentially, beating a lot of counter magic and a couple of priests. So, and then I got ran over by the frogs in the previous game. So yeah, I think this was a very fun video. Like, you got to see nut draws, you got to see a little bit of deck fizzling out, you got to see just crazy scenes here. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I love Vintage, and I hope you enjoy it as well. I think this will be the end of my Vintage series. I've now had 6 decks with 6 different guides. That'll do it for this time. I will happily return to Vintage in the future. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you back.